is Abdul Rahman. I'm a lecturer at a public university in Kenya. I deliver lectures on computing and informatics. In our last lesson, we discussed about the identifiers. We have seen that actually identifiers, actually they are what we call names that actually identify a code, a parameter. And we have found that into identifiers, actually there are several rules for us, around 10 of them, for us to identify what are the identifier and how to write those particular identifier. We have seen some of the rules that we cannot use up a keyword. Actually, there are what we call case sensitive and so many other rules. Today, we are going to start up a new session, and we are going to ask ourselves, what are Java literals? And in that particular journey, we are going to define what are Java literals, the type of literals, and basically we are going to implement into our Eclipse. So let us start on that particular journey and see what actually are Java literals. So when we are talking about Java literals, we are talking about they are sequence of characters, and these particular characters actually they are what we call numbers. They are also what we call text, and any information that represent a value or a constant. So any information that actually represent a fixed value or actually a constant to be stored inside a variable. So they have to be stored inside a variable. So literally we are saying there can be a sequence of characters which should be numbers, text, or any information that represent a value or constant stored into a variable. So those are basically what we call literals. And actually they are source code that represent fixed value or a constant in a sequence of character. And the literals, they are assigned to a variable. So they are actually assigned to a variable. Let's take a very simple example and see how actually the literals actually look like. So let's take this particular example. Let's take, for example, we are saying we have got int a equals to, let's say, 50. So here the int, actually it is, when we're talking about int, this is a data type. Now we're talking about a, this is a variable, and when we're talking about 50, this is what we call a literal. So this is what actually we call a literal, and that one actually takes us into the type of literals. So here we have what you call types of literals. Basically, the type of literals, there are actually 5 of them. So let us start with one by one and try to see what are they. So the first one is what you call the integer literal. So under the integer literal, basically they actually define what you call whole numbers. So they define whole numbers, and basically when we are talking about integer literals, basically we are talking about the default one. The default integer literal is what we call an integer. Others, they are what you call a byte, short, and long. So those will be what we call the integer literals. The second part is what we call the Boolean literals. The Boolean literals we have seen in our previous videos of data type. Actually, they take a value or literal value only to literal value of true and another one of false. And then the third type of it is what we call the character literal. So the character literal, basically, when you're talking about the character literal, we are talking about they take up a single character into a single quote. So if this character is A, that's what they are taking. Also, they take uncoded characters, and all of them are what we call escape sequences. Escape sequences, they are preceded by what we call a backslash. So if you want to write a backslash, it will be backslash, backslash, and that will be what you call a backslash. If you want to take up an alert, it will be backslash A, that will give us an alert. If you want to have a backspace, it will be backspace B, so that will be for backspace. If you want to take up a single quote, it will be backslash a quote, so this will be a single quote. A double quote will be backspace double quote, so this will be double quote. And if you want up a new line, it should be backspace N, so this will give up a new line, and backspace T, it will give us a tab. So basically, that is the third type. The fourth type is what we call up a string. So when we're talking about a string, basically here we're talking about a collection of characters, and strings basically will be actually inserted into double quotes. So if you've got up a string, they'll be inserted onto double quotes. So, and the last one is what we call the floating point. The floating point actually takes what we call fractions. They take fractions and with decimals. So floating point will take up fraction with decimal, and the two types which we have, actually it is what we call a data type float or a literal float and a literal double. So basically those are the types which we have onto a type of literal which are actually supported by Java. So with that particular note, let's go to our Eclipse and actually try to implement the same. So here we're going to implement actually the character literal, and to be a very simple one, we are writing up some program just to print some words using up some character literal. So here we have got system dot out dot print ln. What do you want to print? Let's take, for example, we want to print some words into quotation. So first of all, you have to put up quote. So if you want to put up a double quote, actually it's a backslash and then a quote, and onto that maybe we'll say demonstrating double quote. Demonstrating double quote. So again here we'll have a backslash quote. So actually now this, when it prints out, it will print up the letters demonstrating double quote into quotes. So let's demonstrate another one, maybe system dot out dot print ln, and onto that maybe this time we want to demonstrate up a new line. So actually a new line, we have seen it is a backslash n. So here maybe we are writing only demonstrating a new line. So this one actually it will leave up a space before moving up to the next part, and then let's demonstrate another one. So system dot out dot println, and here maybe we want to demonstrate a tab. So a tab, it is \t, and here we are saying demonstrating a tab. So this will leave up a space and move around five steps to the left. So demonstrating up a tab. So basically these are actually three what you call type of literals, character literals we want to demonstrate. So let us run this particular program and see the result out of it. So when you run this particular problem, actually we are seeing that the first one demonstrated a double quote, actually the words they are in quote, and then the second one gives out actually a new line. So we have got one new line, so you can see here we have moved, demonstrating up a new line, and then demonstrating up a tab, we have seen actually it has moved around 5 steps to the left onto that particular one as compared to the others. So now that comes up to the end of this particular session, until on to our next session, whereby we are going to discuss separators. So for now, I say bye.